Ever bought into like a hot new cryptocurrency and watched the price just shoot up?
Yeah.
Felt like, an investing genius.
Totally.
Only to see it totally plummet a few days later, leaving you with like nothing.
It happens.
Yeah, that sting is the harsh reality of market manipulation.
Right.
Like a hidden danger lurking in the exciting world of crypto.
Yeah, it's a common pitfall, but, one that we can learn to avoid.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Okay.
We are tackling the forces that really control cryptocurrency markets.
All right.
You sent us some really interesting articles and a YouTube video transcript from this financial expert, all about liquidity and manipulation.
Okay.
So let's unpack what this means for, your investments and your money.
Yeah, absolutely. A solid understanding of these concepts is really crucial for navigating this crypto landscape.
So first up, liquidity.
Okay.
It's a word we hear all the time, but what does it actually mean in the context of crypto?
Well, in simple terms, liquidity refers to how easily you can buy or sell an asset without causing significant price swings.
Okay.
Think of like a bustling stock market versus a, sparsely traded collectible.
Yeah.
In the stock market, with its high volume of trades, the price remains relatively stable.
Right.
But with that, rare collectible, a single buyer or seller can drastically impact the price.
Interesting.
That's low liquidity.
So the more people buying and selling, the more stable the price.
Precisely. And this is where it gets interesting for crypto.
Okay.
High liquidity generally means more stability, making a coin less susceptible to manipulation.
Got it.
Conversely, low liquidity can make a coin vulnerable to, those looking to exploit the market.
So that brings us to the infamous whales. I've heard stories, but break it down for me.
Okay.
Who are these crypto whales, and why are they so important to understand?
Whales are individuals or entities holding a significant portion of a cryptocurrency's total supply. They might be early adopters who bought in at rock-bottom prices.
Right.
Institutional investors with deep pockets.
Got it.
Or even coordinated groups working together.
Oh, wow.
Their vast holdings give them the power to, influence market prices, creating waves that smaller investors can get caught in.
So it sounds like they're not just swimming with the current.
Right.
They're actually controlling it.
Yes.
So how do they use this power to manipulate the market?
Okay.
Are we talking full-blown conspiracy theories here?
Not necessarily conspiracies, but definitely tactics that could disadvantage smaller investors.
Okay.
One classic example is the pump and dump scheme.
I have heard of that.
It starts with a coordinated group hyping up a specific coin on social media, spreading rumors, maybe even creating fake news to generate artificial excitement and demand.
Okay.
This inflates the price, attracting unsuspecting investors eager to jump on the bandwagon.
The fear of missing out.
Exactly.
Classic FOMO.
As the price peaks, the whales who orchestrated the whole charade dump their holdings.
So they make all the money.
The price crashes, leaving those who bought in late holding a rapidly depreciating asset.
Ouch.
They create the frenzy, make a quick profit, and leave everyone else to deal with the aftermath.
That's ruthless.
It is.
So they're essentially creating their own tides and then letting the wave crash on everyone else.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
What about this bear trap I've heard whispers about?
Okay.
Is that another one of their tricks?
It is, and it's almost the inverse of a pump and dump.
Right.
Here, whales intentionally drive the price down.
Really?
They might spread negative rumors or make large sell orders, sparking panic selling among other investors.
Oh, so they're playing on fear.
Once the price hits a low point, they buy back in at a discount.
Oh, wow.
Profiting from the chaos they created.
Wow, so it's all about playing on people's fear and uncertainty.
Yeah, a lot of psychology involved.
They make money coming and going.
Do.
Are there other manipulation tactics they use? I imagine those aren't the only tricks up their sleeves.
You're right. Those are just two examples.
Okay.
There's also spoofing, where they place fake orders to create a false sense of demand.
Oh, wow.
And layering, involving multiple orders at different prices to manipulate the order book.
Okay.
These are tactics used to create illusions in the market.
Got it.
Tricking people into buying or selling based on misleading information.
So it sounds like a minefield out there.
It can be.
But knowing about these tactics is the first step to avoiding them.
Absolutely.
So for those of us who aren't whales,
right,
what are some red flags to watch out for?
Okay.
How can we spot potential manipulation before it's too late?
Well, one of the biggest red flags is low market capitalization.
Okay.
Think of it like a small boat in a storm, more susceptible to big waves.
Right.
compared to a large, stable ship.
Right. Right.
Smaller market caps.
Yeah.
Less liquidity,
Okay.
making those coins more vulnerable to manipulation by whales.
Right. So size matters,
It does in this case.
at least when it comes to stability and resisting those manipulative waves.
Right.
What else should we be on the lookout for?
Another red flag is concentrated ownership.
Okay.
If a small percentage of addresses hold the majority of a coin supply, that's a sign to proceed with caution.
Got it.
Luckily, there are tools called blockchain explorers that can help you investigate how a coin supply is distributed.
Oh.
It's like having a peek behind the curtain to see who's really pulling the strings.
So transparency is key,
Yes,
especially in a space as volatile as crypto.
it is.
It's like checking the engine before you buy a used car, right?
Exactly. You want to make sure everything looks good under the hood.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that don't look good,
Okay.
keep an eye out for unusual price volatility.
Okay.
While cryptocurrency markets are inherently volatile,
Right.
you want to learn to distinguish natural market fluctuations from suspicious spikes or crashes that don't seem to have a logical explanation.
So a sudden 20% pump with no apparent news or reason behind it,
Yeah.
that might be a sign of a whale up to no good.
It's a definite cause for further investigation.
Yeah.
Don't just follow the hype blindly.
Right.
Speaking of trust, always pay attention to the project team behind a coin.
Okay.
If they're shady about their activities, the coin's distribution, or just lack transparency, that's a major red flag.
Makes you wonder what they're trying to hide.
It does.
Transparency builds trust,
Yes,
and that seems especially important in the crypto world.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
let's not underestimate the power of social media in all of this.
Okay.
Be wary of any promises of guaranteed returns or aggressive shilling without any substance.
Right.
If it sounds too good to be true, well, you know the rest.
It's a jungle out there,
It is.
and we need to be savvy investors.
Absolutely.
Now, we've been focusing on altcoins and their vulnerabilities,
Right.
but what about the king of crypto, Bitcoin?
Okay.
Is it immune to these manipulation tactics?
Bitcoin, with its massive market cap and wider distribution of ownership, is definitely more resistant to manipulation than smaller altcoins.
Okay.
It's like trying to steer a giant ship.
Yeah,
It takes a tremendous amount of force to significantly influence its price.
but that doesn't mean it's impossible,
Well,
right?
It's theoretically possible,
Okay.
but far more difficult.
Okay.
Those whales would need incredibly deep pockets and a highly coordinated strategy to make a dent.
Got it.
Smaller altcoins, on the other hand, are much more susceptible to those manipulative waves.
Okay, so size does matter in the crypto world.
It does.
But what about those meme coins we keep hearing about?
Uh-huh.
They seem like prime targets for manipulation, wouldn't you say?
They can be, yes.
Okay.
Some meme coins are deliberately created with manipulative intent,
Wow.
while others are just highly speculative and driven by hype.
Right.
This makes them extremely volatile and susceptible to the whims of whales.
So it's like the Wild West of crypto,
Yeah,
where fortunes can be made or lost in the blink of an eye.
that's true.
It sounds exciting, but also terrifying.
It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward environment.
Yeah.
The key is to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
And do your research.
Okay.
Distinguish between a fun gamble and a potentially rigged game.
So how do we navigate this Wild West?
Okay.
What are some practical tips for protecting ourselves?
Well, as we've touched on, research is paramount.
Right.
Don't just buy into the hype.
Okay.
Dig deeper.
Yeah.
Understand the project, the team, the technology behind a cryptocurrency before investing your hard-earned money.
Don't just follow the herd.
Right.
Think for yourself.
Absolutely.
It sounds like common sense, but it's easy to get caught up in the excitement.
It is. And just like with any investment, portfolio diversification is key.
Okay.
Spread your investments across different cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in a market as volatile as crypto.
So even within the crypto world, it's about spreading the risk,
Yes.
not putting all your faith in one coin.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, another crucial aspect is risk management.
Okay.
Consider setting stop-loss orders,
Okay.
which automatically sell your holdings if the price drops below a certain level.
Okay.
This helps limit potential losses,
Right.
especially in those volatile situations.
So it's like a safety net,
Yeah,
preventing those losses from spiraling out of control.
it can be.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that stop-loss orders are not foolproof.
Right.
In highly volatile markets, they might not always execute at your desired price due to something called slippage,
Oh, I see.
where the actual selling price is different from the stop-loss price you set.
Okay, so even safety nets have holes.
They do.
It sounds like we need to be aware of the limitations of these tools.
Absolutely.
What else can we do to protect ourselves?
Develop your critical thinking skills.
Okay.
Don't blindly follow the crowd or believe everything you read online.
Right.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
And be wary of those get-rich-quick schemes.
Yeah.
They often lead to getting poor, even quicker outcomes.
That's good advice for life in general.
It is.
Not just crypto investing.
Indeed. And lastly, stay informed.
Okay.
Engage with the crypto community. Read reputable sources, follow experts, and share knowledge with others.
Right.
The more informed we are, the better equipped we'll be to make smart decisions.
So it's about sharing knowledge,
Yeah.
learning from each other's experiences, and building a more resilient community overall.
Right.
That's really encouraging to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to an interesting point.
Okay.
We've talked about the dangers of manipulation.
Right.
But some argue that the market can actually self-regulate,
Interesting.
weeding out bad actors over time.
That's a fascinating concept.
It is.
It sounds almost utopian,
Right.
this idea of the market policing itself.
Mm-hmm.
But is it realistic?
It's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
And we're already seeing signs of it.
Oh, really?
As the crypto space matures,
Yeah.
we're seeing more sophisticated tools and technologies emerge
Uh-huh.
that can help promote transparency and accountability.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure.
What are some of these tools that are making the market a safer place?
For instance, there are blockchain analytics firms
Okay.
that specialize in tracking transactions and identifying suspicious activity.
Interesting.
They can help expose manipulation schemes and track down bad actors.
Got it.
It's like having a team of crypto detectives working behind the scenes.
So they're helping to bring those shady dealings into the light,
Yes.
making it harder for manipulators to operate in the shadows.
Precisely. And there are decentralized exchanges emerging
Okay.
that aim to eliminate the need for centralized intermediaries,
Right.
which can be vulnerable to hacking or manipulation.
So cutting out the middleman
Yeah.
and making the system more resilient overall?
Exactly. And then there's the power of the community itself.
Okay.
As more people become educated about crypto, the risks and the potential for manipulation,
Yeah.
they become more discerning investors. They start asking tough questions, demanding more transparency, and holding projects and exchanges accountable.
So education is key.
It is.
The more we know, the less likely we are to fall prey to these manipulation tactics.
Absolutely. Knowledge empowers us to make informed decisions and hold those in power accountable.
Yeah.
And that's why conversations like this one are so important.
Okay.
We're shedding light on the challenges, exploring solutions, and empowering people to navigate the crypto world with confidence.
Right. You know, we've been talking a lot about this exciting world of crypto, the tech, the players, the potential pitfalls.
Yeah.
But there's this whole other layer we need to explore,
Okay.
the psychology of it all.
Right. Because crypto markets aren't just about numbers and charts.
Right.
They're driven by, human behavior.
Yeah.
And understanding that behavior, especially our own, can make all the difference.
It's easy to get swept up in the stories of, overnight fortunes.
Sure.
But I imagine there's a flip side to that.
Mm.
What are some of the psychological traps that can lead us astray in the crypto world?
Well, one common trap is confirmation bias.
Okay.
Our tendency to favor information that concerns our existing beliefs.
Right.
So if you're convinced a coin is going to the moon,
Mm-hmm.
you might overlook red flags or dismiss, negative news.
So even if the warning signs are flashing,
Yeah.
our brains might filter them out if they don't fit the narrative we've already bought into.
Right.
That's a dangerous combination.
It is. And then there's the herd mentality.
Oh, yeah.
We're social creatures.
Right.
And we're often influenced by what others are doing,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to investing.
The classic FOMO,
Exactly.
fear of missing out.
If everyone's jumping on a particular bandwagon,
Yeah.
we feel this pressure to join in, even if we don't fully understand what's driving it.
Right.
That fear can override our logic and lead us to make impulsive decisions.
Oh, wow.
Pump-and-dump schemes often exploit this herd mentality, creating a sense of urgency and scarcity to lure in investors.
So it's not just about following the crowd. It's
Yeah.
about understanding why the crowd is moving in a particular direction.
Exactly.
What other psychological pitfalls should we be aware of?
Loss aversion is another big one.
Okay.
We tend to feel the pain of a loss more intensely than the pleasure of an equivalent gain.
Right.
This can make us hold on to losing investments far longer than we should, hoping they'll rebound.
So even when logic tells us to cut our losses, our emotions might be holding us back.
Yeah, it's like we're attached to that initial investment.
Yeah.
Both financially and emotionally.
I get that.
And this can lead to the sunk cost fallacy.
Okay.
Where we keep investing in a losing proposition.
Right.
Just because we've already invested so much.
It's hard to admit defeat, especially when we've put our time, energy, and money into something.
Sure.
So how do we break free from these psychological patterns? How can we become more rational investors?
Well, awareness is the first step. Just knowing that these biases exist can help us recognize them in ourselves and take steps to mitigate their influence.
So it's like having a mental checklist of potential pitfalls.
Yeah.
But awareness alone isn't enough.
Right.
What are some practical strategies we can use to counteract these biases?
If you're prone to confirmation bias,
Okay.
actively seek out information from diverse sources,
Right.
even those that challenge your current thinking.
So don't just read the headlines that reinforce your beliefs.
Exactly.
Dig deeper, explore different perspectives, and question your own assumptions.
Yeah.
That's good advice for life in general.
It is if you're susceptible to herd mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Develop a clear investment strategy
Okay.
and stick to it.
Right.
Don't let FOMO dictate your decisions.
Have a plan, do your research, and trust your own judgment.
Exactly.
Even if it goes against the popular opinion.
Right.
What about loss aversion?
Okay.
How can we overcome that emotional hurdle?
Consider setting clear exit points for your investments in advance. This takes the emotion out of the equation.
Okay.
You're making those decisions when you're thinking clearly,
Right.
not in the heat of the moment.
So pre-committing to a plan.
Yeah.
Almost like setting a budget to avoid overspending.
Exactly. And remember, taking profits is not a sign of weakness.
Okay.
It's a sign of smart investing.
Right.
You don't have to ride every wave to the very top.
Sometimes it's better to walk away with a decent win than to risk losing it all chasing an even bigger one.
Right.
Greed can be a powerful and often destructive force.
Well said. And at the end of the day, successful crypto investing is about finding that balance between excitement and caution, innovation and prudence.
It's about navigating the waves, knowing when to ride them and when to step back.
Exactly. Crypto is full of opportunities,
Right.
but it's also a wild ride.
Yeah.
If you're going to play the game, you need to understand the rules, both financial and psychological.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive into the world of cryptocurrency, liquidity, and manipulation.
You're welcome.
I hope our listeners feel more informed, empowered, and ready to navigate this exciting landscape.
Me too.
And until next time, happy investing.